Hello, guys, and welcome to the recap for the fall 2023 season, week 1, where our first game, the 76ers versus the Hawks, went into overtime, with the Sixers coming out on top 63-59. The top scorers for both teams, you had Wyatt Thompson with 19 points, Jeremy Capper with 16 points, and Brandon Saylor with 14. And for the Sixers, you had Brandon Berry with a whopping 28 points, and Jonathan Townsend with 18. Jeremy Capper and the coach for the Hawks also went 8 for 8 from the field with 7 rebounds to go along with that. And Brandon Berry also had 4 steals and 3 assists with 7 rebounds to go along with that 28 points. This game was a tale of two halves for this team. Jonathan Townsend scored the first 11 of their 13 points, I believe, for this team and kept them alive until Brandon Berry just had a day and carried them all the way into overtime and to the win. Shout out to both teams for playing hard and going into overtime that game. A takeaway from this game is Blake Graham got ejected early into the game in the first half and got picking up 2 technical fouls. I believe they were for language violations. And he cannot play his next game. So that is a rule we have established here in K1. So that did hurt them going down the stretch, but welcome back to the league, Blake Graham. For the next game, our 1 p.m. game, we had the Bulls versus the Warriors. The final score was the Warriors 81 to the Bulls 69. The Warriors had an amazing first half, scoring 46 points to the Bulls 36, and they still outscored them in the second half, 35-33. The top scorers for the Bulls were Nick Crow with 25 points, Cortez Buckner with 11 points, Brooks Schoen with 15 points, and Benito Munoz, Benny Buckets, with 13 points. But the outstanding performance we saw from the Warriors was Miko Sullivan Sr. with 23 points, Tyree Mosley with 20, and Harry Marshall with 18. It was a very well-rounded scoring game from the Warriors, great ball movement, solid defense. And the Bulls, it looks like they have some things to work out, but they will be back and they will be better from what we saw this game. The Warriors just put the pressure on them really early. The league got kind of bad as the game went, but the Bulls never gave up and they fought to the very, very end. So I like to see more from this Bulls team, but the Warriors established who they are, and that's the returning champs. The next game, we had the new look Bucks and the new look Nets. The Bucks end up taking this one 66-58. The Bucks outscored them 34-26 in the first half, and they were dead even in the second half at 32 points apiece. But that gave them an 8-point advantage at the end of the game, winning by 8. And the top 2 scorers were the 2 OGs we like to call for the Nets, and that's Ronnie Jackson with 15 points and Jerry Chills Wills with 14 points, as he was taking a lot of shots and being very aggressive during that game, which we like to see. But for the Bucks, the newcomer, we had Marcus Pope had a outstanding game with 17 points. Had some early turnovers, but did what it is he had to do. And then you have Barrick Olden, who played like his usual self, had 22 points and 10 rebounds along with 2 assists. And then you have Wally Watson, old member of the Grizzlies, going to the Bucks, had an outstanding game himself, had 12 points along with 4 steals, 2 assists, and 4 rebounds. Well-rounded game from the Bucks. I like the ball movement. I like the encouragement from those guys. And the Nets just seem like they need more pieces, and they're missing a few guards. So we haven't seen this Nets team at full power, and we have not seen the Bucks team at full power, as Quan Shaw did not play that game due to injury. But he will be back soon, he says. Give him a couple of weeks. And the next game was game of the week, Lakers versus the Celtics. This game was a good one down to the wire. The Lakers ended up taking it, though, 75-68. And the Lakers and Celtics were tied at the half, 38 points apiece. And then the Lakers just kept the pressure on, outscored them 37-30 in the second half, winning 75-68. For the Celtics, you had Antonio Phillips with 17 points. And you had Jake Kavas with 12 points. And you had what we all expected, Ryan Kavas, to have a good game. He was 9 for 14 from the field, 8 for 9 from the free throw line, had 26 points. Along with that, with 6 rebounds and 2 assists. But for the Lakers, it was a well-spread game. For those who, the guys did really, really well. Terrell Hendricks led them all. on the Lakers with 21 points, had 8 rebounds and 4 assists to go along with that. Tone Brooks got it going early, 5 for 9 from the field, 5 for 9 from 3, 3 for 5 from the free throw line, had 18 points to go along with them. And then you had 13 points from D. Bradley and Andre Robertson Jr. And you had 10 points from J.J. Calvin chipping in. These guys did exactly what they needed to do. They came in, they played with energy, they played with hustle, and they still didn't have another one of their guys, Jeremy Ruffin, who was some size down low. So this team isn't all the way there yet, and the Celtics were also missing the big guy themselves, so they weren't all the way there yet as well. So this is just week 1. We got more to look at, but the Lakers take that one away, 75-68. And the next game was the new look Thunder and the new look Spurs, and this one was a blowout, guys. It was 85-60. The Spurs outscored them 40-20 in the first half and outscored them 45-40 in the second half. Thunder do a good job of scoring 40 points in the second half, coming back, still showing some fight. They were missing some key guys, KJ King being one of them, who's definitely a difference maker. But for the Thunder, their top 3 scorers were Devin Vent with 13 points, and they had Bino Mack with 12 points, and Antonio Dyson with 11 points. And for the Spurs, they had 4 guys in double figures. You had the one that led them all in scoring. Martavius Laster had a game. He had 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. The next person up was Octavius Davis, who was 7 for 9 from the field, 2 for 3 from the three-point line, and hit all of his free throws. He had 18 points and 3 rebounds. Dennis Koger, doing what he usually does, had 17 points, had 6 rebounds and 2 assists to go along with that. And then you had Sammy Hines, who's back in the league. Welcome back, Sammy, who came in and scored 11 points, had 4 rebounds and 3 assists himself. So these guys had a total of 15 assists this game, and the Thunder had 2 assists. So that just lets you know what the camaraderie was and where it needs to be for both teams. The Thunder are looking to bounce back in their next game, and the Spurs looking to continue things going. And for the final game of the day, we had the Heat versus the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies take it away, 64-44. The first half was kind of close, as both teams seemed to have a pretty slow start. It was 24-20, very low scoring half for both teams. But in the second half, the Grizzlies took it away, 40-24. End up with a 20-point lead at the end of the game. Of the top 2 scorers, there was only one guy in double figures for the Heat, and that was John Reed, 4 for 9 from 3. Had 12 points. And then the next guy up was Cameron Davis, had 9 points, 3 for 7 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3. But for the Grizzlies, you had 3 guys in double figures. Chad White led the Grizzlies, a perfect 6 for 6 from the field, 16 points and 5 rebounds for him. Next guy up was Jeremiah Mitchell, 6 for 12 from the field, 12 points and 5 rebounds for him. Well, 6 rebounds for him. And then James Coleman, new face in K1, had 11 points and 6 rebounds. The Grizzlies just had a lot more size than the Heat that game. They once they figured things out, they were able to get things together in the second half. The Heat were putting the pressure on early in the first half defensively, playing a zone, and they were missing some guys too, some guys with size as well. So they're looking to come back and show what they're really made of, and they definitely could have competed much better had they had more size. But that is the recap for week 1, guys. Tune in next week for the recap for week 2. Thank you very much.